portrait would be. This story would it would feature human characters, and it would contain a beautiful musical score. Now, Walt Disney Pictures' newest animated feature is ready for audiences everywhere to enjoy. The film is Pocahontas. And on this program, we'll take you behind the scenes with the directors, animators, actors, and musicians who contributed to the creation of this classic story of two different worlds and of love conquering all. The America of 1607 was an enchanted land of unspoiled beauty and mystery. It was populated by a noble race of people who lived in harmony with the earth and whose deep spiritual beliefs were strongly aligned with this natural world. Pocahontas was the beautiful and restless daughter of Chief Powhatan, the leader of these tradition-bound people. Her tragic and eventful life is legend to every American schoolchild. And when the filmmakers at Walt Disney Pictures decided to bring her story to life, they were challenged with creating their first animated feature based on a real person and an actual historical event, the coming of the English explorers and the dashing young captain who would change Pocahontas' life forever. But the story of Pocahontas is as much legend as it is fact. Poets and painters have fantasized for years about the beautiful Indian princess who lived in an enchanted forest. And it is this blend of history and fantasy that Walt Disney Pictures has brought to life. Our story begins with the English settlers sailing against the elements toward this new land in search of gold and adventure. They are led by the greedy governor of the Virginia Company, John Ratcliffe.
Trouble on deck.
And by their captain, the rugged and adventurous John Smith.
Steady on your course. It's all right, Thomas. We'll get her tied off.
Meanwhile, in the enchanted forest, Pocahontas ponders her future with the stern warrior her father has chosen as her husband.
I think my dream is pointing me down another path.
This is the right path for you.
She can't shake the feeling that someone is coming, that something is about to happen.
You've got this story of two worlds, complete opposites, coming together, told through the eyes of two people. So we intercut the ship of the men and John Smith landing, and as his foot's hitting the shore, Pocahontas is coming up a rock, setting sight on John Smith for the first time.
I think we're telling the story of two people who make a connection with each other, not the least of which because they're both risk takers in their own worlds. They do a kind of cat and mouse game with one another in terms of her sneaking around trying to get a better look at him, and him thinking he's being stalked by an Indian, and what's going to happen when those two worlds collide.
And there they are, standing, these people that they don't have a common language, they don't have common history of any sort, they don't have a common thing in anything except the fact that it's a man and a woman who are destined to be together. It's all right.
He's kind of a jack of all trades, his own man who wants to forge his own life, who's very capable, especially in tough situations. And one gets the idea that he's experienced a few tough situations before. And that he's also a man with something to learn. And he's intelligent enough to pick that up and to actually learn something and to change.
This is how we say hello. Wingapo.
Wingapo.
I think John Smith is basically a good guy who has a little bit of cultural rethinking to do, courtesy of Pocahontas.
Wait. There's so much we can teach you. We've improved the lives of savages all over the world.
Savages?
Not that you're a savage.
Just my people.
No.
Pocahontas takes John Smith into her world and helps him to look at it in a different way. And I think because he has the capacity to change, she falls in love with him.
And for once, never wonder what there were.
From the very beginning of this project, the filmmakers were determined to make a movie which would be both entertaining and true to history. But Many of the events surrounding Pocahontas' life were not well documented, and the filmmakers were faced with the task of piecing together these events from many different sources.
I hereby claim this land and all its riches in the name of His Majesty King James I.
We spent a lot of time talking to Native Americans and to historians. There's not a lot of first-hand material that is available. It was an oral tradition, so there's nothing really written that's been handed down. And the accounts from the British historians has to be looked at as somewhat biased.
And do so name this settlement Jamestown.
So we felt that since historians among themselves can't agree, that we had a certain amount of license to use what is known from the folklore to create this story.
These pale visitors are strange to us. Take some men to the river to observe them. Let us hope they do not intend to stay.
The conflict arises because the more these two meet and fall in love, the closer they get, the further apart their two worlds get, and you end up with a terrible climax of war that they must try to stop.
While Walt Disney Pictures has broken new ground with Pocahontas, telling the story of real characters and historical events, the challenge for the animators was actually creating these human characters while maintaining the fairy tale quality that we've come to expect from a Disney animated film.
I guess the thing that I learned from the old guys that taught me was that whatever you animate, you have to animate it with sincerity. You have to believe in it. It has to be real to you. And for Pocahontas, she's different than any of those others because they were all fairy tales. There was no Little Mermaid, and there was no Beast, and there was no Aladdin. Pocahontas is buried somewhere in England. Your first image of Pocahontas, you see her standing up high on a cliff, right at the edge of a waterfall. The pose tells you volumes about her, that this is a hero like we've never had a hero. So I just kept trying to imagine this real girl here in the forest. I'd walk off into the woods and just close my eyes and try to picture this girl running wild through the woods. The moment where Smith and Pocahontas meet is got to be one of my most satisfying moments in animation. It's not about moving drawings, it's about drawings that move people. And this scene is moving the audience to feel something that they know is real, and deep down inside they're experiencing it. We've gone for the cool blues and light aquas of a waterfall, and we felt this would create a really romantic mood in which to place Pocahontas and John Smith, and they will read very warm against that. And then you'll have mist coming up, which will sort of create almost a never land that they're in, as if time is stopped for a moment. No, wait, please.
John Pomeroy is the supervising animator of John Smith. For him, the job was a realization of a dream.
Glenn and I have known each other for over 20 years, and we've wanted to work together on a picture together for a long time. But now we finally got our chance, and we were playing opposite each other in these wonderful roles.
With the kiss, it was tough because her nose crossed over top of his, and I had to make sure that her nose wasn't pushing too hard against his face, and sometimes he wanted Smith's face to move a little bit further, and then I had to back off and erase her nose because I had it scrunched a little too much. You know, John will make his pass through the scene and rough in some indication of Pocahontas as John Smith is kissing her, then he'll give it back to me. I'll draw Pocahontas kissing him, and then I give it back to him. It's just kind of back and forth. It's like a football game.
Pocahontas. One doesn't usually associate, that kind of physical attraction and stuff with animated features, but it does work in this. I mean, Pocahontas is a babe in this. I mean, you have to say it.
What have you been?
I was out scouting the terrain, sir.
We'll need that information for the battle. What? We will eliminate these savages once and for all.
We don't have to fight them.
The Smith character is a mirror of my own personal life. There are many things about the man that I
personally felt akin to for some reason. It's a real, very, very interesting connection I was able to make with that character, which I've never done before in all the years I've worked in animation.
I've never been popular, man.
Not all the animators felt such a personal connection with their character. Duncan Marjoribanks was the supervising animator for the overbearing Governor Ratcliffe.
Success will be mine at last.
Largely he's greedy and corrupt and sort of represents an effete aristocracy. So we sort of translate those character traits into geometrical shapes. In the earlier versions of Ratcliffe, he was much more pear-shaped. As we realized he was turning into more of a nasty villain in development, we raised his center of gravity to his chest, so he seems more pompous and nasty and arrogant and physically menacing.
Now's our chance! Fire! It's a trick, don't you see? Fire! Fire! Some of this myself! No! John!
In Pocahontas, the movement of the characters is extremely detailed and lifelike.
Mary Kokoum?
And Pocahontas's animal friends, Miko, the raccoon, and Flit, the hummingbird, both exhibit incredibly natural characteristics while still maintaining the lovable personality traits that are a tradition in Disney animated features.
I studied hummingbirds to determine how they moved and what made a hummingbird unique in its movement. And then I tried to adapt a personality to fit that, a nervous staccato movement. And when many of the lead people at the studio saw that, they realized that this character could come alive. And on the strength of that test, he was added to the story.
Yeah, remember you. I'll need those witless peasants to dig up my gold, won't I?
Governor Ratcliffe's dog, the pugnacious pug Percy, provides the perfect target for Flit and Miko. And in a break with Disney animation tradition, the animals in Pocahontas don't speak.
Well, how do you do, Miko?
Voices in the animals just didn't seem to fit. It seemed to be better if they were mute, so to speak, or if they were more natural, like real animals would be.
So we decided, well, let's take their voices away and make them pantomime characters to put them in a more naturalistic setting. They're still funny, but they get all their yaks from how they act, how they move.
Not that way!
The naturalistic setting for Pocahontas and the range of human emotions that the characters experience clearly had a profound effect on the animators.
It was as if we were really living out what was happening on screen. And that becomes a terrific inspiration and motivational drive in trying to perfect what you're creating on film in your animation. Because now you don't tap from a fantasy source. You don't try to make believe. You are literally creating from life, which is the best source anyway.
So far, we've seen how artists and animators work together to bring passion and sincerity to their creations. But to bring the characters completely to life, the filmmakers had to find the right actors to provide the voices. And when an actor is asked to perform a character voice in a Disney film, they're not being asked to merely read the words, but to completely embody a character that will live on for generations.
Steady as the beating drum.
In our quest to try and cast Native Americans, we scoured the entire country for this. And we had casting directors, we had tapes coming in from people and saying, we are looking for, and finally finding Irene Bedard. And Irene actually fit the role brilliantly for what we wanted.
Flit! He's back! Come on, Miko! He's back, Flit! Come on, Miko!
Pocahontas is more of a woman instead of a teenager. And there's got to be sincerity and a nobility in the way she speaks and a controlled palette of the up and down voice inflections.
Sounded a little Italian at the end.
Like the acting, like everything else in this picture, less is more. And Irene gave a performance that was very controlled and confident. It fit perfectly with Pocahontas.
But Grandmother Willow, what is my path? How am I ever going to find it?
All around you are spirits, child. If you listen, they will guide you.
You just have to listen to yourself correctly. Listen to your heart, you know, because that's really what it comes down to.
Having found their ideal Pocahontas, the filmmakers turned their attentions to the other side of this romantic tale, Captain John Smith. And who better for that role than Mel Gibson?
That's right. I'm not about to let you boys have all the fun.
Mel is that swashbuckling, carefree, wonderful kind of guy, and our goal is never to go cast celebrities. Our goal is to cast the correct voice.
Hey, what? All right. I'm leaving. Why don't you go and pick on someone your own size?
I think Mel brought to us a real sense of that character, John Smith, and we were very excited by the fact that he wanted to do it.
You don't understand a word I'm saying, do you? You want to know what the images are that you're speaking over and to help add more life to it. And if you're not adding enough life to it, they soon enough let you know. It's kind of like cutting off some of your senses and just using one aspect of yourself, and you have to use a lot more imagination. I'm John Smith. And what is your name?
My name is Pocahontas.
Well, how do you do, Pocahontas? It's a handshake. Here, let me show you.
Nothing's happening.
No, I need your hand first.
Although the original dialogue and lyrics for Pocahontas were written in English, the audience for the film is not limited to English-speaking countries. So Pocahontas will be translated into no less than 28 different languages, including Czech, Slovak, Polish, Cantonese, Arabic, even Hindi. It is the task of hundreds of directors, actors, and technicians working in their native languages to bring the story of Pocahontas to audiences around the world.
Buenos días, pequeña. Esperaba que me visitaras hoy.
The translator is really the key to the foreign language dubs, because they have to take an American joke with a double meaning and then adapt that into their language and fit it in the lip sync in the same, or approximately the same amount of syllables.
Oh, ¿puedes ver algo? Oh, ¿y cree usted que haya salvajes, señor? Do you think we'll meet some savages?
If we do, we shall be sure to give them a proper English greeting.
Oh, gift baskets.
And he came so highly recommended.
Estamos recolectando comida para los guerreros.
It may be hard to imagine the amount of hard work that goes into the creation of all the different versions of Pocahontas, but it's not hard to imagine how enjoyable it is for audiences to hear the characters speak and sing in their native language.
Quiero más.
I always feel that when we finish the picture, it is not an American film that's been dubbed in another language. This is a German film. It's a French film. It's those kids that come to see it and the adults. This is their culture, their history, their film. Even if it's about an American subject, it's something that they create. And to me, that's the way it should be.
Historically, music and song have been at the very heart of Disney animated features. And in true Disney tradition, Pocahontas includes enchanting and memorable music. Composer Alan Menken received 6 Academy Awards for his contributions to Disney's The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. Lyricist Stephen Schwartz is a Broadway veteran whose work on Pippin and Godspell helped make those shows Broadway classics. This musical dream team has created a collection of songs for Pocahontas that is certain to stand among Disney's very best.
Powerful magic, so good that powerful magic.
Alan is a great composer and understands, you know, film and the theater, and Stephen is a wonderful lyricist, and he's a composer in his own right. And whatever it is, whatever magic happens in any collaboration happened here, and I'm very grateful for that.
They began by diving into research.
You want to feel it's expanding a little bit.
I can do that.
Yeah.
When we first did research for Pocahontas, we wanted to avoid doing the kind of music that was boom, 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 just kind of the cliche Native American music. And Stephen Schwartz and I got a lot of tapes and a lot of records and listened to a lot of Native American music and found throughout a lot of boom, 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 boom. You know, the cliche has some authenticity to it.
We have an Indian chant called Steady's the Beating Drum, which segues right out of Virginia Company, and that's, of course, to show the other side. And what we were trying to do there was, first of all, to musically to give a feel for what the Native American music sounded like, or what our interpretation of it was. So it's much more rhythmic and much more of the earth, if you will.
Steady as a beating drum.
There's always points in the story that are sort of part of the musical formula. When Pocahontas realizes that she's different, that she wants something more, that's a musicalization moment. And Just Around the River Bend is the song that she sings there. When Pocahontas imparts her worldview to John Smith, that's a very important moment. It's when they first connect, and it's called Colors of the Wind.
The first song I heard was Colors of the Wind, and it was almost 3 years ago. I happened to be in Jamestown for the first time, and Stephen Schwartz, the lyricist, brought the tape down, and I knew when I heard it, it was a great song. It had great emotion. It made me cry, actually, I have to say.
The song is a message song. It's about respecting the environment and respecting our world. And, you know, it says, can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Can you see in the world around us all the rich array of blessings that are there? And can you coexist with them and treasure them as you should?
All the riches all around you, and for once never wonder what there were.
It just was a very creative process, and it really is a challenge. You have to really think about what all the details of the performance are, and, you know, knowing that it's forever, and that it's probably more people will hear my work in this movie than anything I've ever done. It's a bit daunting. So you really want to make it right.
Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon, or ask the grinning bobcat why he grinned?
It was just one of those magical things that happened where we really knew what we wanted to say. We knew who this person was. We were able to find the parts of ourselves that beat in synchronicity, if you will, with Pocahontas on these particular thoughts, and it just happened.
You can own the earth and still all you'll own is earth until you can paint with all the colors of the...
We lived with these songs for a long time, actually, before the movie comes out. We listen to them over and over and over and over again, and I don't think I ever get tired of hearing that song.
I'm incredibly pleased with it. I think it may be the best song I've ever been involved in writing.
I think it may be one of the best lyrics I've ever written, too.
Oh, gorgeous.
Mel Gibson chose to handle the vocal chores himself for John Smith.
I'm a confirmed kind of like shower singer, and that's kind of where I wanted to leave it, but I thought, what the hell, I'll give it a whack. And there's something refreshing about trying something new and even, stepping out of the shower.
It's all about the work for both Steve and me. I think we've both been through enough so we know that the work is what we value. The result is what will live with us for the rest of our lives.
Clearly, for everyone involved in the making of this film, it's all about the work. But with the story of a young Native American girl named Pocahontas, whether legend or fact, this film has a special meaning for each and every individual involved.
So I think our goal is to always tell great stories with great characters and push the boundaries of animation one step further. And I think whether it be The Lion King or Aladdin and now Pocahontas, I think we've done that now consistently for the last 10 years.
I just would hope that people will come away learning, one, to follow their heart, and two, that fear is the major detriment to pretty much about everything. I mean, prejudice is based on fear.
Pocahontas pushes the boundaries of animation, and more. It also pushes the boundaries of our imaginations, taking us somewhere we've never been before.
We are making films that are good for anybody who's in the theater. They're kids, sure, but teenagers and parents and their parents and so on and so on. And it's harder probably to make a film that way. But it's definitely worth doing when you get it right.
You think you own whatever land you land on. The earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name.